feel like I've been gone for so long, but it was just actually, I just missed a week of filming, and quite frankly, that's not what I'm used to. But I'm back, and while I was gone, I was always thinking about collage, and I went to a yard sale, which is a great source for collage, as most of you probably already know. What a beautiful book. But I'm going to do things. Probably with this book, I'm not sure. And then there were a couple of other things. The beloved National Geographics, as always. And then this really interesting magazine, Pacific Pathways, 35 cents. Eola. Don't you love the color overlay? That's my Photoshop talking. Of these pages. I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I don't know what my focal point is going to be, because ultimately, what is your focal point going to be? Think about your focal point. Once you got your focal point going, the options are endless. So I always like choosing a couple of focal points, a couple of backgrounds, and then secondary, periphery objects that might be of interest. Is anybody out there? Let's find out. Have too many focal points to choose from, that's a good thing. It gives you more options, more freedom, and ultimately you have more fun with your collages. So I have at least 3 here that can serve as focal points. I also grabbed this map as a background. I think I know where I'm headed. I'm not sure. I recently taught a text and transparency class at Remainders Creative Reuse in Pasadena, California. I'm going to be teaching another text and transparency class very soon, next month on May 30th. If you want more information, let me know in the comments and I will let you know all about it. Techniques that I'm using here and just my general collage way of life, I reiterate in those classes. The difference is you get 2 hours of me and 2 hours of my ephemera, and you get 2 hours to do whatever you want with collage. Nonetheless, I'm just going to get back into the groove of things here. I love absurdity in collage. That's why, while I love the National Geographic, and you probably saw me pull a lot from the National Geographics, I love mixing up where I get my ephemera. That to me provides greater absurdity. Although you can do whatever you want, you can just use one magazine or one book and create several collages from the one source. I just like using several different sources myself. I think I have enough right here to do a pretty healthy collage, just to get my juices flowing again, have a little fun. I love this ant. He's going to be a lot of fussy cutting, however. I'm not sure if I'm up for that. I'm also finding that I'm keeping my ephemera together. I used to actually take my magazines and books, cut them apart, and sort things like, oh, this is color, this is text, this is female form, this is something that's more archaic, and I had folders, file cabinet to sort everything. But the truth of the matter is, lately, I just keep my ephemera together and I just go through it and see what I want to do with it later and create the collage as I go. So that is what we are doing today. I believe I'm going to do a little bit of transparency. She is going to be perfect for transparency. Just a quick preview of what you will, let's get rid of this little piece of tape, what you will get in one of my workshops for text and transparency. You just grab some packing tape and rip it off. You want to cover what you want to put the sticky part of the tape on what you want to make transparent. I think I'm going to do it with some words. Let's do it with these guidelines. I take the tape, I cover, ooh, don't let it get away from you like that if you can help it. And I cover it, and I usually put it on my mat like this. And when I get my scissors, I don't have my scissors with me, I like to burnish it on. You can use your fingers for something like this. But if you have something like the edge of a scissors, okay, so you will grab something like this. Your scissors handles are perfect. And just burnish it on. And what you're doing here is that sticky adhesive that's covering the word guidelines, which is what I want to read transparent, is just trapping that old ink onto the adhesive, because this was from an older magazine. You know, it's funny because I'm looking at some of these magazines, I'm like, oh, 2014, it's not that old. Well, it's 11 years ago. That's getting old. And that's okay, because that means it's just cool and you don't see this kind of imagery as much anymore. Heck, do we see that many magazines anymore? I'm not having a problem yet getting my ephemera, but I've shared this with you before. My concern is one day there won't be any magazines or that many to choose from for collage art. So I've been trying to digitize some of my stuff so I can maybe switch to a digital format, which I have done. I recently did a call and response with another artist, and all of my work was digital for the most part, with a little bit of analog here and there, but mostly digital because it was just easier. Okay, now once you've done that, take your tape, oops, fold it over like this so it's just easier to grab next time. So once you got it all done, you're going to put this into some water. Oh my gosh, I just picked up a lot of gunk. It's actually not a big deal. You can cut it away. So I'm just going to cut this away. I am making a mess. Do as I say, not as I do. Okay, I'm going to cut this away. It won't make a big deal. I mean, if you have some dirt and stuff that gets trapped, it's okay. You know, it is not the end of the world. After all, once again, like I tell the participants in my workshops, it is just paper and you can do it again. Grab a little reservoir of water. This is from, I think, Trader Joe's, like a bunch of mushrooms or something, and then drop it in. It doesn't matter which way you drop it in, either plastic, not plastic, tape side up or down. It does not matter, because you're going to soak it, and look, it's going to do some curling action. That is fine too. And you're just going to let this soak for a couple minutes. I like to let it soak for a couple minutes. Let's do that, and I'll come back and show you what else I do. Okay, it hasn't been quite like 5 minutes or anything, but you can always drop it back in. So then what I do, you can use like the gentle blue side of this sponge or the rough one. Sometimes I just use my fingertips. This is an old magazine, so the paper might come off a little easier. And you're going to see it's going to start sort of pilling, and in this case, I might dunk it again and keep rubbing. When I use my fingertips, it's a lot gentler than using the sponge, but the sponge will not hurt it. So let's go ahead and use the sponge a little bit on here. Damp paper towel. You don't even have to use a damp paper towel. I'm just doing that for some reason. And I'm actually going to use the rougher side. And you just start a gentle scrub, and that will start removing the back of that paper, because paper's in layers. So we're just removing the back side of this paper. The tape has captured the ink we want for our transparency and is protecting it. At least I think it is. I hope it is. And there we go. Now it's starting to do that. See that pilling? You want that. That is a good thing. And see, the ink is trapped on there. Now you can scrub too hard and pull up the ink. Ah, this is a good one. This is a good one. And I am just gently pulling at that back of that paper with my thumb. and exposing the transparency. You don't need Photoshop. You can do it. I love this technique. I use it in a lot of my collages. The adhesive is gone. And what you have left is a yummy transparency. And I can use this in the collage. I could reuse it if I want to. But if I want to glue it down, I can. I'll just use my trusty Mod Podge. That'll work. So you just keep pulling at it. And if you run into a little bit of an issue, or you have too much, or it's getting dry maybe, like it's getting a little dry here. And we didn't even need the sponge, but it's getting a little dry. I'll just come over, dampen my fingertips just a little bit. And you just keep on that pull. And later on, I'm going to put this off to the side and decide truly if I want to use it in this particular collage. But later on, if I find that there's still some of that ghosty look on it, on the paper, which is kind of a bummer sometimes, but I see it's still there, I can always come back with more water and pull it off. So you do not need much to create these analog effects. Now, as I said, I have done digital art, and I love digital art, and I so admire people that are good at it, and I'm getting better at it. But like transparencies and overlays, well, that's something you can do with your hands. Okay, I am going to call this done. I used my transparencies, used hands, and of course, but these hands to kind of bookend it. I like how the red is corresponding, and I like the map. I just cropped it a little bit more. I believe, though, it's going to get cropped even more in Photoshop. I see a bit here I could probably slice off. Of course, that will affect the guidelines, which is probably going to be the name of this little collage. I thought I might use the face that I stole these lips from, but I didn't. So it's a little different from what I normally do. I really wanted to use this piece because you probably remember I was, no, I really wanted to use it, especially after I did all of this fussy cutting. It's okay. Because I think it would have just been too much. As it is, it teeters on being almost unbalanced, but I think it's okay. I think it's going to be just fine. It's actually, believe it or not, I've been doing actually a different form of art lately. It's not really collage, but I always come back to collage because I love collage. So I think that my creative senses may be distracted, and that's why this may look a little different from what I normally do. But nonetheless, this is what I normally do, and I do collage. So again, we got some transparencies. I liked how this came out. It was white on black, white font on black, and that always makes for, I think, a really lovely touch. So, okay, we're done for this week, as usual. I thank you so much for joining me on this collage journey. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you want more information, if you are in the LA area and you'd like to attend a workshop, let me know in the comments and I can give you a little bit more information on that. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video.